through the review process that the utility easements are going to cause an issue, and then based on the planning division's requirements and recommendations, that they can move it to one side having sidewalks and the other side being pay in lieu for the sidewalks, to give them some leeway in that. All of that was approved unanimously. The second item on the agenda was the Conway Professional Plaza PUD preliminary subdivision. The only thing that required approval there was just looking at the preliminary plat and approving it subject to the completed punch list. That was approved unanimously as well. The third item on the agenda was the Cherry Hill Phase 2 preliminary subdivision. Based off of the request from the developer, that we held that in committee until next month's subdivision committee. That passed unanimously to hold in committee. The fourth item was the Club Villa PUD replat. That did require active approval based off of the minimum lot width that must conform. There was a variance requested due to a sewer easement and utility easement. That was passed, the variance was passed 3-0 unanimously. And then finally, the last one was the Northview Estates PUD preliminary plat extension. That was a request from the developer to extend the approval on the plat for 1 year, with the plat to expire April 3rd, 2019. That passed unanimously as well. That is the end of the subdivision committee notes.
Thank you, sir. All right.
Could you be quick?
Pardon me. Get my paperwork together. Before we move on into the public portion, I'll read this. The Conway Planning Commission makes recommendations to the City Council on public hearing items. The City Council will make a final decision on these items using the Planning Commission recommendation as a guide. Items reviewed at tonight's Planning Commission meeting may be considered by the City Council on the, this is April 16th. So it'd be I can't remember the date. 20.
I thought it was in here, but it's not.
April 24th, 2018. Items not approved by the Planning Commission may be appealed to the City Council within 30 days after Planning Commission denial. If an item is appealed to the City Council, a public notice sign will be placed on the property at least 7 days prior to the City Council meeting, and a public notice will be placed on the city's website, www.cityofconway.org. All right. The first item on the agenda here is the old business. The Jim Hawks request to rezone property located at east of Highway 25 North, south of South Shore Lane, immediately north of Northwoods Estates, A1 to PUD. That's item D1.
Do you want to read the section in red?
Oh, I'm sorry. As of the date of publication, Conway Corp and City Engineering have conflicts with an area of the PUD connecting larger west and east portions due to the narrowness of the proposed street and utility easements. Planning staff has suggested that the PUD be divided into 2 phases, with phase 1 being the west portion and phase 2 the east portion. The Planning Commission could approve the PUD with a condition that all reviewing city departments and Conway Corporation must approve the suitability of phase 2 prior to issuing building permits. All right. Do we have someone to speak in favor of this?
Give them the rules, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. So for all the agenda items tonight, all those speaking in favor, the first person to speak in favor of each agenda items will have 10 minutes. Each subsequent person will have 2. Likewise, the first person to speak in opposition will have 10 minutes. Each subsequent person will have 2.
Chairman?
I'm assuming this is Mr. Hawks.
Yes. Name and address?
Yes, sir.
Remember
Name and address for the record.
Jim Hawks, 123 West Cattern Ridge, Greenbrier, Arkansas. And I think after some meetings with Brian and what we've decided to do is to break that up in 2 phases in that problem area at Lot 20. And I guess our request is for approval. You know how to word this?
Well, I've got, I don't know if you've seen the conditions that I came up with, but 4 and 5 basically reflect that phasing.
Oh, that does reflect that phasing.
Those are the new conditions.
I agree.
To the things from last month.
Yeah, I agree to that, for sure. That would allow us to go ahead and develop lots 1 through 20.
So it's this section right here.
And just for the record, conditions 4 and 5 are essentially what I read prior to
Here over is phase 1.
Mr. Hawks coming up.
Conway Court with getting utilities in a small little road.
We'll restate those, should this become a motion. Any question for Mr. Hawks?
Not at this time.
You have anything else?
No?
All right, thank you, sir. Anybody else to speak in favor of this? Seeing none. Anybody to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I'll call this into committee.
Hang on just
Oh,
one
sorry,
second.
go
Come on
ahead.
up.
I don't want to shortchange you.
Come,
We haven't been up there in a month. We haven't done any construction.
But he's,
come on up and state your name and address for the record.
my
Yes,
name's Gregory
please.
Garmer. I'm on the behalf of Juanita Burkhart, 3245 Lakeview Acres Drive, Conway, Arkansas. If they're gonna do it in 2 phases, on the east side, what are they gonna do about what's already been cut in and the water problem there?
That's not up to us. That's up to the city, I guess. Brian, who's in charge of enforcing that?
Be the drainage engineering department of the city, and as part of the plating, you'll have to do something to remedy that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't enforce
Until they
that,
start
though.
getting permits, there's nothing we can do about it.
But what's already cut in
Yes, sir.
and that there, so, I mean, even though what's cut in for the,
Yeah.
Until they start the permit process, is that not right? There's nothing that we can do to enforce it?
All day long, and
Yeah.
there's no grading permits or
Right.
cut trees by the city, so whether it was in the city or outside the city, they can do whatever they want to, basically.
I mean, I hate it, but there's nothing that we can do about it
okay.
at this
If,
point.
can I say something?
Sure.
If we can do something for erosion control, maybe what we can do, since that's kind of going to be in the phase 2 section that he's talking about, we can go through there and sow grass seed, anything to impede the speed. I think he's saying that we increase the speed of the water
Of the
getting
water.
there.
Right.
So we'll look at that. We could probably put silt fence along there. I mean, it's not going to stop it because it's all running downhill, kind of runs
Yeah.
east.
Yeah,
But we'll get back there and look at it. And,
Whatever you can do,
yeah.
that'd be great.
would be
Well,
great.
That'd be
If we
nice.
could plant it in grass seed, it should take and slow down anyway this time of year.
Yeah.
Good
But
deal.
these rains we've been having, I don't know of anything that'll work right now.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else to speak in opposition? All right, I'll call this back into committee. Committee, what say you?
I mean, the land use makes sense, and I don't have a problem with it.
I like all these conditions.
I do think that while there was no stated objections tonight, we did obviously have a large contingent last month right before we held it in committee. We did have the open public comments, and there were a contingent of neighbors around. Most of it was around the erosion control and the stuff. I'm told that that is at least being addressed or has been addressed per ADEQ requirements and standards now. So I agree that with the suggested conditions on page 31 through 5 with the two new added at the bottom, I think it makes sense.
I'll make a motion to approve it with the 5 suggested conditions listed on page 30.
Second.
All right, Ann has made a motion to approve this with the 5 suggested conditions. Brandon has seconded that. The motion is approved with the first condition, PUD shall be generally developed as shown on the submitted site plan. Minor modifications of the submitted plan shall be allowed for technical reasons. However, the density and intent of the site plan shall be followed. No driveways or private streets shall be allowed access to South Shore Lane. Number 3, the construction of sidewalks will be waived. An in lieu fee of $15 per linear foot must be paid for the required length of the sidewalk along Friendship Road, former Highway 25. This fee must be paid prior to the filing of a subdivision. The private street sidewalk in lieu fee shall be $1,875 per lot and must be paid prior to home final inspection. Number 4, the PUD shall be divided into 2 phases. Phase 1 shall include the private street and lots 1 through 20. Phase 2 shall include the private street beginning at the lot 21 frontage and lots 21 through 24. Number 5, all reviewing city departments in Conway Court must approve the suitability of the private street access, utilities, drainage, etc. of Phase 2 prior to filing of final plat and Phase 2 of issuing building permits. Any discussion? All right, seeing that there's no discussion, I'll call the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Unanimous.
Thank you.
All right. Next item. Haven request to rezone from A1 to S1.
My name is Marty Jones, and I'm the director of Haven House, and my address is 640 Whispering Wind Circle, Conway, 72034. And as lovely as y'all were to me a couple years ago, I really hope to never be back in front of you. But I'm here, and so I was going to start by explaining why. Our current piece of property that we had rezoned on the corner of Country Club and Tyler, after we had it rezoned and we're raising money for a while, and then we hired our contractor and our engineers and all the work that we started doing to get that land prepared, and it ended up being more than we could afford to get through that rock, and it just kept growing. Y'all don't look surprised. It kept growing and growing and growing, and we just got to a point where we knew that we couldn't raise that kind of money to fix that piece of property. And so at that time, we started putting our feelers out a little bit to see if there was something else out there that might work for us, and we came across 7 acres on the northwest corner of the intersection of Country Club and Sturmer Road, which is currently zoned A1, and we are requesting a rezoning to S1. We think this will be a great fit for us. It'll be set far back, give us a lot more privacy, close to the walking trail for our girls to be able to ride their bikes and walk, and close to the church that we attend, and we think it'll be a good place for us. We are not changing anything, so this is still the same house that we're going to put on the same piece of property. So nothing has changed there. Rick, where did Rick go? Oh. Do you have to show kind of how it's going to?
I'm Rick Sowell, Sowell Architects. I reside at 330 Conway Boulevard. We are also serving as the architects for Haven. Our office is downtown at 1315 North Street. We have not changed the plan. We've not changed anything about the house other than the location of it. As Marty said, we are located right now on this proposal at South Country Club and Sturmer Road. North is up. This is the Elms and Clowers office, and can you see that over there? This is the Elms and Flowers office and shop back here, so we're kind of backing up to there. As you can see, it's the same house, same layout, with an entrance actually off of Sturmer Road here and into the parking lot. There is a large easement that goes across here, locating around behind that, but the Haven is looking at buying the entire piece of property here. It's a 7-acre piece. I have a larger Google Earth map if you want to see the entire piece.
Now that's, oh, sorry. You have your 10 minutes. Go ahead. I'll ask
Oh,
questions in
no,
a minute.
I'm finished. You can.
Okay. Now, I don't know if, I guess I could finally read the rest of the flooding issues. Portion of the northwest corner of the property contains FEMA floodplain zone. Structures may be constructed in the floodplain, however, the finished floor elevation must be set at an appropriate height. Before I even asked that question, I knew that that property was either in the flood zone or real close to the flood zone.
Portions of it are. This is not the greatest image, but you guys know what we're looking at here.
Yep.
North is up. This is where we're proposing to locate the building, and this is the Elms and Flowers building. This is where the large easement cuts across. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you can see from there, but there's a little line that comes right across here that is floodplain. We're staying far away from that. As a matter of fact, we're not even getting close to it in what we're doing here. I do ultimately think that this is a buildable piece of property that's on the other side of the easement there, at which time that floodplain issue would be addressed. Place over there to build a building that's actually not in the floodplain. We are overlooking that.
Okay. So you don't anticipate it being any issue whatsoever?
No, sir.
Okay. That was really my only question. Thank you.
Thank you, Marty.
Anybody else speak in favor? Seeing that there is none, anyone to speak in opposition?
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Seeing that there is none, I'll call this back into committee. Commissioners, what say you?
Yeah, my only real concern was the floodplain issue. I would hate to see them go from one piece of property that was, we knew when we approved the last one that there was
Right.
big chunks of rock. It was going to be impossible to build on. They were going to try it anyway, so I think it's a good fit for the neighborhood and the area. I see it as congruent, have no issue.
Better than other stuff that could go there, you know?
Sure.
Yeah. That'd be a lot nicer looking.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, this is really, I mean, just an eyesore as it sits today. I mean, this would be good for the neighborhood. But one question I have, I mean, given what you're putting there, Martin, this is no indication of what we're doing, is how closely are you going to be from those utility lines, and how will that affect what you're,
It's not.
Power line has a 100-foot easement, which is why we pushed the building back so far.
okay. Oh, yeah, I know you had to be a certain space. I just didn't know what the requirements would be with you having so many kids there, if you had checked all that out.
Are you gonna be able to have more kids there than the previous one you were looking at?
We're going to have 14 kids in that. No, it's going to have the exact same size as.
Same house and
as our
everything.
other place.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, a lot more outside space, a lot more
Right.
Good.
place for them to play, fenced in area for sure.
Sure.
Won't be on the street, yeah.
Personally, I think it's a, not that you ask my opinion, but it's a better location.
Yeah,
for-
yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Yep.
Especially with the walking track and everything. It'd be great.
Yep.
All right, sorry. Sin commissioners, what-
Make a motion to approve it, I like the location.
all right.
I second that.
There's a motion on the floor to accept this as it is, to approve this as it is, I'm sorry, by Arthur, has been seconded by Wendy. Any other discussion?
Nope.
All is in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously.
Good luck, guys.
Congratulations, Ms. Marty.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Item E2, the Trinity Development request to rezone from C2, neighborhood commercial, to MF3, multifamily 3.
Ms. gonna speak in favor of this.
Well, Rick was distracting the people that are supposed to be talking, I think.
We got hoarded in, couldn't get out there.
It's like,
Bobby French,
Rick, you got him.
Central Arkansas Professional Surveying, representing Jim Rankin, Trinity Development. My office is 1021 Front Street. Basically, they're just taking this property, I think it's commercial now, and going to MF3, or I guess it's PUD, but it's, is that part of PUD? No, it's not PUD, it's
We're
commercial.
asking for MF.
Yeah.
C2.
Yeah, C2 to MF3, and I think that, is kind of what that area has been set aside for. So, backside of those commercial properties right up there, they're going to put some apartments, kind of go join in with what's behind there. And they own pretty much everything in that area. So, any questions?
Anybody else speak in favor? Anybody to speak in opposition? Seeing if there is none, I'll call this back into committee.
This
Hey,
is,
Jim, do y'all own the two buildings on Donaghy?
Yeah.
Where the Mexican place is and the Palm Beach Tan and all that?
Yes, we own everything on all four corners of these properties.
Okay, I thought so. Okay.
I think it's an easy expansion of what's already there.
Yeah.
I see what's there is working, obviously. It's congruent with the neighborhood, I have no issues.
Me either. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor to approve by Ann, has been seconded by Ray. Thank you, Ray.
Right.
But they never call you Ray.
Any further discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Unanimous.
Mr. Chairman, there being no further business, I make a motion that we adjourn.
There's a motion on the floor to adjourn by Ms. Ann, as usual,
Miss Tucker?
has been seconded. All's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I'm ignoring you.
I kind of wanted to
Yeah.
keep talking about it. Yeah, I was not expecting that. I really didn't notice that all that other stuff was on subdivision. I thought